Live. On 92.5 FM on campus and 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR, KSMR Real College Radio. Already our first technical difficulty of the season. Sorry, I had the YouTube live stream on mute there for a second, but hey, we're on YouTube. I mean, look, you can see us. The reason that the squeeze is now live on YouTube as well as on the radio is because our internet live stream here at the station is not up and running. And that was one of the reasons why this is the first squeeze 4 or 5 weeks into the school year. We wanted to do this 3 weeks ago, me and my producer here, Alec Rude, if you remember him from last year. We're going to do some exciting things this year on the Squeeze, including some show giveaways. We have new guests. We're in the presence of T-shirts. I didn't even say that. We're in the presence of the St. Mary's play-by-play guy, so we're going to hear a lot of insight from him later on in the show. But again, you are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquesi. Oh, how great it feels to say those words right now. Broadcasting live at 92.5 FM on campus and translator K232CZ 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR, KSMR Real College Radio. So the troubles that were going on stemmed from us updating our broadcaster, which is called Sam. There was a little bit of a miscommunication between the KSMR radio station and the IT department, which is, acceptable, I guess. It's kind of tough because the IT department doesn't understand the software that is in the station. And sadly, us workers at the station don't understand the software either. So I've been doing all that I can to get it back up and running. So has everyone at the KSMR station. And it's kind of stinks that it's been so long since we've done a Squeeze, but I'm happy we're back, and I'm sure you're happy we're back.
Yeah, it's like the same thing for play-by-play too. Like we have trouble with it's in Winona, Minnesota. Like the connection here, and
the best.
I'm not sure if you said it, but we got struck by lightning up on top, and that was a big issue for us.
Currently, I don't believe we are broadcasting on the 2 frequencies. We might be, but I checked yesterday, and we weren't because our 92.5 tower right in St. Mary's got struck by lightning or something happened, so it got fried and it's not working. And our 92.5 signal is translated to a bigger signal, 94.3 in Winona, Minnesota. So because the 92.5 got kind of fried and frozen, the 94.3 isn't broadcasting the signal either. So right now we are literally a YouTube radio show, which is kind of weird. And I wanted to talk about that. I just wanted to get it, clear the air with the YouTube live stream. The quality is not going to be the best. The video quality is not going to be the best. And we are not doing a YouTube show. I made that clear to Alec, and I want to make it clear to you. We're not going to pander to the camera. We're not going to, it is radio first, it is sound first, video second, because that's what we're doing here. We're doing a sports talk radio show.
Yeah, we want you guys to listen. Not to see our beautiful faces, which is not something bad,
with the matching t-shirts, but we want you to listen. Exactly. It's a radio show. And I just want to let everybody out there know, if you're kind of looking at our dweeby faces and you're like, why am I watching this? Don't think of it as you're watching it. Just think of it that you're listening. Exactly. When you say, hey, I watched the show, I want you to say, well, first, that's awesome. Thank you for watching. But just say you listen to the show, because that's what we're doing here. But some perks about YouTube is you guys are going to be able to go back and watch the shows that you missed. They're all recorded. You can, pick out the favorite parts that you want. We're going to get some more sound bites actually every week from Claire and Teresa, who were favorites on the show last year. They are going to be involved heavily in this year's show, this year's season of The Squeeze, because, well, I was told it was the best segment that we had all year last year. So don't fix what isn't broken, right?
Yeah, I think I had too, and there's a chat for all you guys. Maybe that could be something for like a little sports debate or something, but there's a little chat that all you could kind of get after each other. I guess it'd be kind of fun if people had kind of some opinions and stuff, and also to communicate with us as well, because I have the chat right in front of me. So say if someone wants to chime in or something, get us to maybe talk about something that we missed on, or they want us to go further in, I think the chat would be very good for that.
Yeah, great. And Alec Rude is the producer here on The Squeeze, and he is in charge of the chat. So whenever you're talking to chat or you have questions about the show, you're going to be communicating with Alec Rude, who I'm so happy that he is back on the show this year. He was a big help last year around like the last 4 episodes of The Squeeze. And it means a lot that I'm not the only one who feels so strongly about sports radio at this school. And actually, we have one future KSMR member sitting in with us here today, and we are going to have a couple more coming in as the show progresses, one of which is Colin Sturr, and he's going to start a sports radio show along with Steven Reamer. That's going to be a fantasy show that they haven't really worked out the kinks yet, but they're really excited to get going with that. So it's super cool that we started something that might really get rolling here at St. Mary's University. KSMR has been neglected over the past 4 or 5 years, but we're really trying to bring life into this station and make it something great. So, okay, let's talk about the 16-second squeeze. Alec, what's a 16-second squeeze? I don't want you to tell me because I don't really understand it either. Look at these swaggy t-shirts. They're pretty cool. They say, listen to the squeeze on the back. You probably couldn't hear that. That was bad radio.
I should have said that.
You should have said that. But how can you get a squeeze t-shirt? You're probably asking yourself. Well, you can't buy them, but you can win them. Every week, we're going to have one winner of a squeeze t-shirt, and the way you win it is the 16-second squeeze. Every week, I'm going to be asking people around campus to give me as many blank as they can in 16 seconds. I will then record it. So in this case, I've asked Claire, Teresa, and Desmond Stewart a bunch of questions saying, for example, name me as many state capitals as you can in 16 seconds. They do it, and then, you tally it up. So let's say Claire got 10. You, the listeners, are going to call in and say, hey, I want to face off against Claire. So you're going to then give us as many state capitals as you can in 16 seconds. If you beat Claire, and then you beat the other two callers in margin of victory, you will win the squeeze t-shirt. It's a pretty big deal.
Big thing is margin of victory too. That's
yes, the big thing is margin of victory. So let's say I beat my person by +4 and Alec beats it by +3. Even if I only got 3 right and he got 2 right, that's impossible. The math on that doesn't work. Don't do math. We're not a math show.
Business major.
So even if he has more answers correct, I win because I was +4 and I win the t-shirt. And we're going to have 3 of those. We're going to have that for a contest line, which I will give you later in the show. So don't call the show number. If you want to enter the 16-second squeeze, you're going to call the contest line that I will give you later on in the show. So something that I've made a point to do so far this season, this athletic season at St. Mary's, is go to more St. Mary's sporting events. Last year when I was doing the squeeze, I had other things going on, and I wasn't really into watching St. Mary's sports. And that's not a good thing. I'm a St. Mary's sports talk radio personality, as you are as well. So I've been making a point to go to every home game that I possibly can. And I haven't missed one yet for women's soccer, and I did miss one for men's soccer. But one of the advantages of going to every home game and taking notes on every home game is you get to know the players and you get to know the storyline of the season. Last year, it was kind of, okay, what did Donnie say in his email this week? We would sit here and we would read summaries and we'd try to give insight, but it's impossible if you're not going to the games and you're not building that relationship with the players. And that's what we're doing more this year. So let's give you, the listeners, a little bit of a review so far of what has been going on with the men and women's soccer team. The men's soccer team is 3-5. They started 3-0, but have lost their last 5 games. It was looking very promising early in the year, and things have gone downhill a bit. But the thing I want to say about the last 5 losses, 3 of them have been incredibly close to very quality teams. St. Thomas is the 4th best team in the nation. They are number 4 ranked. They only lost to them 2-0. Both of the goals took place in the first half, and one came on a pretty questionable call, if I say so myself, that led to a free kick goal. So you take that free kick goal away, and maybe 1 or 2 things goes St. Mary's way. That's a win against the top 4 team in the nation.
We had a crossbar. We barely met. St. Mary's had a lot of chances in that game too. They could have tied it easily, I think, in that game.
Yeah, and you're going to hear from Robbie Sobzak Jr. on the St. Mary's soccer team later in the show. That's at 10:30, and I'm sure he'll say the same thing, echo the sentiment that sometimes in soccer you need to get lucky. But after the St. Thomas game, they went to St. Olaf. And that was a bad loss. I've heard from multiple sources that they didn't take the game. They didn't take their opponent seriously. They went into it saying, we're going to beat this team. This is going to be a laugher. We don't have to work hard. And that's not how you want to go into it. So we're going to ask Robbie later in the show what he learned from that experience and what the team can learn from that experience. But from one bad loss at St. Olaf to, I guess, losses are never great, but from a bad loss at St. Olaf to a pretty good loss here at St. Mary's. This Wednesday, they took on Loras College, which is a perennial powerhouse in Division III soccer. They took them to 2 overtimes. 2 overtimes against a perennial powerhouse, and they only lost 1-0. Centeno had 18 saves.
He was unbelievable.
I mean, and I missed this game, of course. So Alec is the play-by-play guy. I mean, tell me, what was the story of the Loras game? What didn't go St. Mary's way, and what happened for Loras that took them?
I had to leave for tennis.
Oh, never mind.
But no, I had talked to Mateo Means a little bit, and also Cole Van Houten and all of them. But they kind of basically said like it was Centeno's game that whole time. Like he played unbelievable, but as you said earlier, Loras is just
they're perennial.
The Cardinals weren't like disappointed in it.
No, it was a great loss. And that's 2 of the last 3 games. And then this, oh God, I don't even want to talk about this one. Yesterday was against Augsburg, who is at the top of the MIAC every single season in soccer. Sometimes they're nationally ranked. This game was chippy. This game was fought hard. And this game was close. Augsburg didn't score until Augsburg scored early in the first half, and then they had to lead the entire game until the 87th minute when Josh Ballsiger, J Balls, puts it in the back of the net in the 87th minute, the final hour. They go to overtime. It's looking great. I'm rewriting my questions because I had already written questions for the post-game interview of negativity. I was like, how are you going to move on from this loss? And then they score, tie it up. Everyone's excited. I mean, how could you not be? An 87th minute goal to tie the game. It was incredible. Josh Ballsiger with that goal. He's actually second in points on the team so far this year. He's having a great year. And then, of course, 7 minutes into the first overtime, the Augies put it in the back of the net. And you could just see the distraught faces on the St. Mary's Cardinals men's team. No one was smiling after that loss. It may feel okay today because it was such a good game, but in that moment, to lose the 4th game in a row,
a conference game too,
so they're now 0-3 in conference. To lose that game so close again has just got to be heartbreaking. So if they had won that game, it would have been a turning point for this season. That could have been the come from behind overtime win against a really tough conference opponent. And instead they go home today thinking, what are we going to do? We might have to win out in the MIAC to make the MIAC playoffs. Like this is not where we wanted to be. We're going to talk to Robbie Sobczak and ask him a couple questions about that and just how you can move on from such just repeated tough losses.
I think that's just like last year too. They had a lot of tough ones last year. Like they faced St. Thomas and Augsburg, but they still got many tough opponents left. So like you said, they might have to win out, and that's why that Augsburg lost, and especially the Olaf was not projected really into.
No, they're a bad team. They're a bad team.
But Bethel's coming up though. Bethel
is next. They're not good. They just lost to Augsburg 6-1. So
7-1, I think it was
7-1. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Bethel is coming up next for both the men and women. Speaking of the women have had a little bit more of a positive season so far. The men are 3-5. The women are 5-3. They also started 3-0 and have since gone 2-3. They have a 3-1 home record, a 2-2 away record, and they are 0-2 in conference. Conference games are the ones you need to win. I love watching this girls team play. They are calm, cool, and collected. Their passes are crisp. Their goalie is great. They have playmakers on every level, one of which we're going to talk to later today, actually at 10:15. Well, that's when it was planned, but it's 10:15 now. So Kasi Arriaga will be in studio talking to us after the break. She is a freshman. This season is looking great for this team. Of the top 11 points scorers thus far through 8 games, 9 of them are freshmen or sophomores. Are you kidding me? 9 freshmen and sophomores of their top 11 players. This team is young. This team is exciting, and they're looking to do some great things here in the future and in the present.
Yeah, no, and they're coming from all over too. They got 2 from Colorado, Montana. I think Cassie's from California. So
yeah,
that's why recruiting.
They're recruiting out.
Even in D3, recruiting is big.
Yes.
So,
and then they're recruiting a lot of good players. Mary Loy is a sophomore. She leads the team with 11 points. Maura Mishner is a senior. She's in second with 10 points. And then Kasi Arriaga is in third. Actually, she's tied for second with 10 points as well. So let's send it to break here. After the break, we will be talking to Kasi Arriaga. I hope I'm saying her name right. And you will hear from her. We got some good questions for her, and we're super excited to talk to a freshman stud here on the women's soccer team. But first, this is it. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. It's the first 16-second squeeze. The contest line is 630-670-6330. During the break, if you want to join the 16-second squeeze, please call that number, 630-670-6330. And I just want to let the YouTube stream know during breaks, because we can't play music like we had done before last year, you're just going to be silent. You're just going to be quiet. There's going to be no sound. So just, go get some food, go get some cereal, go do something. Just don't look at the screen. Okay.
Hey, what's the number again? I'll type it in.
630-670-6330. We are sending you to break here on the squeeze. I forgot to unmute you guys again. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi on KSMR Radio, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus and 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR, KSMR Real College Radio. Well, we have our first 16-second squeeze caller, and here he is. This is Niels from La Crosse. How you doing, Niels?
I'm doing great today.
Okay, sounds good. Your contestant.
Some squeeze apparel.
You want to win some squeeze apparel? I'm excited for you to win some squeeze apparel. So, Alec, are you ready to count as many as he gets right? Okay, Niels, you have 3 contestants to pick from: Desmond, Claire, or Teresa.
Desmond sounds intimidating. I'll go with Claire.
Okay, Claire had 16 seconds to name as many flavors of LaCroix as she could. 16 seconds, as many flavors of LaCroix as you can. Niels, ready, go.
I'll go with mango, apricot, lemon, berries, peach. There's all these fruits. Orange maybe.
Okay, and that's it, Niels. Thank you for participating here on the 16-second squeeze. Alec, how many did he get right? I don't know if any of those were real LaCroix flavors.
I don't know either.
Okay, Alec doesn't know if they were real LaCroix flavors either. How many did you count, though?
6.
He counted 6. Thank you for participating, Niels. That was 6. We will call you back if you win. 5. We have correction from the LaCroix experts in the crowd. That was 5 correct LaCroix flavors. Thanks for calling, Niels Anderson.
5 correct LaCroix flavors. Okay.
Yes. So that was Niels. Now let's listen to Claire and see how many she got correct.
Compliments, tangerine, coconut, mango, key lime, pure. I don't know, I can't think of it.
So that was 6. I counted 6 from Claire on flavors of LaCroix. So sorry, Niels, but you are -1. That still might be good enough to win because it is a margin of victory game, but things aren't looking good for you winning that t-shirt this squeeze. But I am here sitting with Cassie Arriaga. It is not Cassie, as previously thought by your dumb host here, Anthony, on the squeeze. So Cassie, oh my gosh, I just said it again. Are you kidding me? Welcome, Cassie.
It's okay.
it happens, right? So you are from Chula Vista, California, which is quite a ways away. Are you ready for the winters here in Minnesota?
Honestly, I want to say I'm ready, but I don't think I'm really going to be ready.
Okay.
I mean, I got on my jacket from Colombia, my boots, everything.
Okay, sounds like you're ready.
But
But
with
mentally,
what?
are you prepared? I don't know if you are.
We don't get the cold in Chula Vista.
Yeah,
So
what's the coldest it gets in Chula Vista?
probably like 60s.
60s? Okay, yeah. Alec, is she in trouble? I think she might be in trouble. Yeah, so
She's in big trouble.
she's in big trouble. There we go, Mr. Producer from the voice in the back. So Chula Vista, you're in Minnesota now. How did you get here? How did the recruiting process go? I mean, that's a pretty far place to come from California all the way here to Minnesota.
So I was actually a part of this thing called NSR, National Scouting Report. From there, they kind of like expanded my like options for college and everything. They sent out my email and like they sent video clips, and I actually got in contact with Neil. And like I was kind of behind, like I was procrastinating, and I hadn't replied to him right away, but I did end up replying to him. And I asked him, "Is it okay if I can still like talk with you?" And he's like, "Yes, of course. Like I think you're a good fit."
Cassie is great at soccer. Let me tell you, if you haven't seen her play, that's the reason why I wanted her on first this year, because she has been a standout freshman for this young women's soccer team. Are you happy with your decision so far of coming to St. Mary's?
Yeah, I think St. Mary's is a really good choice. Like it's calm and everyone's so nice, which is like different from Chile sometimes.
Minnesota nice, right? No,
Yeah.
that's a bad thing, isn't it?
No.
So you like the school, you like the coach. Do you like? I mean, I'm sure you like your teammates.
Yeah, all my team's family. So
Yeah, family, exactly. So, in your opinion, how is this first season going? Like, what was when you started here this year? What did you think was going to happen? And has reality lived up to expectations?
I didn't really have like much expectations because I was like super nervous and like hesitant about coming. But like as soon as like I started playing with them, like I felt like connected with each and every one of them, and I feel like everything was gonna go well. And it was just everything's going up to par so far.
Okay, awesome. You guys are 5-3. You are 0-3 in conference. Is that what we said? Right. But things are looking up. I shared this statistic earlier. I don't know if you heard it. Of the 11 top point getters so far this season through 8 games, 9 of them are freshmen or sophomores. One of them is you. How does it feel to be on such a young team? It has to feel good, right? Yeah.
It does feel good, and like I don't know, I'm just happy. Like I've gained confidence since I've like come over here. Like the team lifts me up, coach lifts me up. Like there's the first couple weeks there was just like random people that'd come up to me and they'd be like, "Hey, you're on the soccer team, huh? Like I like read about you and blah blah blah." So
Yeah, that's awesome. So okay, one of your greatest attributes that I've noticed is when you get the ball, you're calculated and you're collected. The ball never seems to be out of your reach. You always have possession. And you always know where you're gonna go. You always have an idea. When did that attribute manifest? So when did you start understanding that, wow, I have control of this ball? When this is in my possession, this is my ball. When did that start?
I feel like that's been a roller coaster because like when I was younger, I was like a little more confident. So like I was like, okay, I got this, and then like it kind of went away. So like I feel like since I came here, everything's like going back to the way it was. So I feel like just having the support all around has helped with that.
Okay, yeah. I mean, this is the play-by-play guy. I don't know if you know that. So he's been to every one of your games. I've been to every one of your home games. And it is so exciting when you get the ball and you score. It's exciting for me, and I'm sure it's exciting for Alec. What does it feel like to you when you score a goal? What is like the thing going on in your head?
It's honestly an amazing feeling. Like you're like, wow, I scored. Like I'm doing something for the team. Like we're getting something, you know.
Yeah, and you're doing good things and big things. Bethel is coming up next. I believe you play them on Wednesday. Do you have a scouting report on them yet? What can we expect from the Bethel Royals?
I don't know the scouting report.
Okay,
I really
that's fine.
don't know of any teams.
Well, that's okay. I mean, that's a good thing. You're like the secret weapon. You haven't heard of them. They definitely haven't heard of you, right? At least not yet. But they will. They will know the name Cassie Arriaga at the end of her 4 years. Thank you so much, Cassie, for sitting in with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was great. So we're going to go to break here. If you want to be on the 16-second squeeze again, call 630-670-6330. And yeah, let's go to break. Thank you, Cassie, for sitting in.
might have to get a little close to it.
Yeah, I'm 3 for 3. I forgot to unmute the stream once again. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi on KSMR Radio, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus and 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR, KSMR Real College Radio. That was great with Cassie Arriaga. I'm so happy that she came in here with us today. And now sitting with us is junior defenseman Robbie Sobczak, right?
Yeah.
Sobczak.
Yeah.
On the men's soccer team, Robbie is the stud of all studs, I'd say. He's involved in every play. Every 50-50 ball is Robbie's, and that's all you hear when you're watching a Cardinal soccer game is Robbie, Robbie, Robbie. And I talked to him last time about it. He said that's him actually screaming Robbie, 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 because everybody knows it's Robbie's ball. But okay, let's start the interview on a low note, a low key. It's going to be a downer question. What does a practice after a heartbreaking loss like Wednesday or like yesterday? What does a practice feel and look like?
That's a good question, Anthony. Also, thank you, by the way, for introducing me like that. It's nice of you to say. But I guess that kind of has been a theme lately. But thankfully, what I've seen in comparison this year to our last couple of years is after some downers, maybe in my freshman and sophomore year, we kind of dwelled on it a little bit more. But what's the difference now is we have a really positive younger class that say, like, hey, you know, this can't be our theme. So when we lose, we know that we were the better teams and the better team in the games that we lost. So they said, hey, you know, we can't dwell on negatives, and we're gonna stay positive throughout this practice and work for the next one. So that's something fantastic to see within our group because we're really not letting frustration get to us.
Yeah, and it's frustrating to say the least because we talked about it earlier in the show. Of the last 4 losses, 3 have been close with 3 perennial, powerhouse Division III teams. And you guys have been with them every step of the way. And I asked Josh Balsiger this same question, and he gave me a couple good answers. But what can you do to get to that next step, to get to that powerhouse Division III program?
Wow, Anthony, that's a fantastic question. That's, I guess, something I've been rolling through my mind all the time right now because you hear it from, I guess, the Olaf coach who told us, you guys are a fantastic program. I looked to my assistant coach and said, you know what, we're losing this game. And then all of a sudden they flip the switch and they get 3 in the back of the door. And we're like, what happened? It's just little things like that where we're the better team and we need to execute. So I think it honestly comes down to a little bit of confidence. Like I know that we're the better team, but maybe when it comes to a MIAC game, our conference, we freak out and say like, oh gosh, we're up 1-0, or they just scored a lucky one on us, and we kind of go out of our game and play frantic. When if you see it, we have more shots, we have more possession, and it's we kind of get out of our game when it comes to an interesting situation when it happens, when the score changes. So it's basically us just getting into a confidence throughout the entirety of the game.
Okay, and Josh Balsiger, I'll play his soundbite here, but I believe he says some stuff about luck. Do you agree with that?
You know what? Actually, there is a lot of luck to soccer because it's bounces here and there. It's if people just have a good game. So obviously, I think that is a little bit. So maybe we get a little bit of luck here sometime soon, and we'll be on the other side of it.
Okay, and here is the soundbite from Josh Balsiger when I asked him the question, what can you guys do to get to that next level? Never mind. The sound quality is very bad. Technical difficulties. We're learning some stuff here on the squeeze. Let me try one more thing. Last time, apparently you couldn't hear Claire in the 16-second squeeze, so I'm kind of nervous there. But let's just see some stuff right here. Okay, let's hope this plays.
Well, if you came out and seen our games, we're working our out there, and we're standing with these teams. We just gotta start putting away in the final third, finding ways to be creative and dangerous in the box, and just it's coming up and being lucky sometimes. We've been real unlucky in the past, and it's just got to start swinging our way at some point.
Okay, thank you. That was Josh Ballsiger Jr. on the St. Mary's soccer team. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Sorry for that sound quality. We're working some things out here on the Squeeze. First episode on YouTube. It's kind of a big deal. So that was Josh Ballsiger at the end of the game after he had scored the tying goal in the 87th minute. When he scored that goal, you guys were down on your luck. I mean, that game was not looking good. The ref was not making good calls. It was physical. You guys had gotten multiple cards. What was that feeling that the team had after Josh scored that goal?
Well, I'll tell you what, in my entire career of soccer, that was one of the prettiest goals I've ever seen. So credit to him. I think that was a cool goal for him because I think he's starting to get the credit that he deserves. He's a fantastic player for us. But yes, it definitely was a spark. We had some people on the sideline say, hey, if that didn't amp you up, I don't know what's gonna, because we were all hyped up on the sideline and ready to go into the overtime prepared. And you know what, we really were. We controlled the game. We had a couple corners in overtime. We were absolutely pressing them in the first little bit there, but then they just slipped one through and got a toe on it, and it was just an unlucky bounce.
Yeah.
Another heartbreaking one for us because losing in overtime seems to be a theme for us, but I guess all we can do is stay positive and we'll get on the other side of it.
So I'm going to be honest. I wasn't at the Loris game because it was raining, and I'm a fair weather fan, I guess, literally. But Centeno had 18 saves, which was a career high. It's a crazy high number for a goalie. But again, I wasn't at the game. But what that says to me is in that game, you didn't have ball control. Is that kind of what happened?
Well, I'll tell you what, Loris plays the oddest style of soccer. I've never competed against a team like that in my entire life. Apparently they have some rules that say you can never play negative ball. So as soon as they get the ball, they're always kicking it forward. It's kind of an ugly, sloppy game. It's kind of what the United States soccer is made fun of for, because it's very just pound the ball forward and have your bigger, faster players run onto it. But I guess I can't hate on it that much because in the end of the day, it ended up working in overtime again. But yeah, no, credit to Alberto Centeno, our goalie. 18 saves, that's incredible. And this may be just me biased, but I think he's one of the best goalies in the MIAC. He's a fantastic player and leader for us.
Yeah, very rarely have I seen him make a boneheaded play. He always makes the play he should.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's one of the hardest workers I know.
So the last 4 games you've lost, 3 have been very good losses. Again, I've said it to Alec. Losses are never good, but if ever a good loss, those 3 were pretty good losses. The St. Thomas game, the Loris game, and then this last one yesterday against the Augies. But there's one in there that isn't so good. And I had heard from a couple people that said maybe you guys walked into St. Olaf a little big in your britches, a little bit, we're going to beat this team. This is an easy game. And you didn't take them seriously. What can you learn from that?
Yeah, I guess you said that pretty perfectly. We came in there knowing we were the better team, and we, I guess, just could not pull through. And once they started scoring, we kind of just opened the gates and let them score a couple. And I guess what we can learn from that is just say, like, hey, no matter our opponent, no matter if we know we're a better team, no matter if we're playing Loris or St. Thomas, who are rated nationally, we got to come to play. So I think it was a tough transition for us playing St. Thomas, who is a number 4 in the nation, and then going and playing a team who we know we're better than, but are the whole speed of play situation was tough, and maybe playing away, but we did lose, and we have to learn from it. You're right. So we'll just take it with stride and say that we just got to face every team like we're playing a nationally ranked team.
Yeah, and Bethel is not exactly a high quality team. Every team in the MIAC is a good team, but they're not as good as the 3 good losses. What can you do to not let that happen this week at Bethel?
Yeah, that's something that we're going to definitely be talking about within our locker room, because again, we know we're the better team. We just lost an overtime game to Augsburg, and they lost and they beat Bethel 7-1. So we know that we're the more quality side. But it's gonna come down to execution again. So we're gonna hold the ball a little bit more, keep it as a team, and once we get into that final third that Josh was talking about earlier, it's being calm and putting the ball away. And hopefully that game can spark some energy within us for the rest of the games of the MIAC.
Yeah, so you keep saying you're a high quality team. You know you're better than the other side. This is now your third season, your third team as a Cardinal here on the soccer team. Which of those three teams would win in a head-to-head matchup?
This one. I guess I can kind of lay it out for you. My freshman year, we came in and we played like a defensive team. Like we had 5 in the back. We were basically playing to just take a beating, and we kind of just got some lucky counter goals to get some wins in the MIAC, I thought at least. Our last year, I think we were a very competitive team in the MIAC. We outplayed a lot of teams and won some crucial games, like we beat Gustavus, who ended up second in the MIAC last year, and pummeled them. And now this year, even though stuff hasn't gone our way, I know that we're the better team. Last year we were playing neck and neck with teams. Now we're dominating teams. So it has seen it is showing that we are continuing to grow, which is fun. And next year we're going to do the same. But right now we're just not seeing the scores back our play, which we'll get on the other side of it soon.
Yeah, and every time I go to the game, I take notes, and it seems that the most consistent note that I write is the Cardinals have ball control. The Cardinals always have the ball on their foot. They win the possession game every single time. And I don't know the shot totals, but it also seems that in every one of these losses, you've been right there with the team you lost to, or you've been ahead in shot totals, and things just haven't gone your way. And I guess that alludes to the luck factor of soccer, and you can't really do anything about that.
Yeah, you're right, Anthony. But again, I guess it's just a theme that some of our freshmen have been saying. Like, it's really fun to have such a strong leadership group in that freshman. They said, "Hey, you guys, upperclassmen, stay with us. You can't get down. We're gonna bounce back." And I think it's maybe just their energy coming in, and maybe they're not used to this theme that we've had of losing in tough games. So they're trying to pick this up, and I think that's going to help us out, and we're going to get on the other side of it here soon.
Yeah, so just a couple of those freshmen that I could just name off the cuff is Eli Szymanski, John Luke Nahorski, RJ. What's his last name?
RJ Vasquez.
RJ Vasquez. He's from Antioch. It's funny because I always remember she says Antoke in the pregame. Yeah. But so you have a really quality group of freshmen. A lot of those guys start. What does that mean to the seniors? Like, what can you guys, or you're a junior, but what does that mean to the upperclassmen? What can you guys do to the freshmen to make this program a consistent powerhouse?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I think they're possibly one of the best classes to come into our program. So we know that they're going to be good. It's just our upperclassmen are just telling little tips and tricks here and there about our conference, about playing college soccer, about even just getting your academics done so soccer can align. But we just know, I think, give them a year. That's really what I've seen as a pattern. You just take 1 year under your belt, and you know the conference, and they're going to all have a breakout year, but they're already doing fine right now. They're fantastic players, and the entirety of their class is good. So it's going to be fun to see them grow.
Yeah. So one last question here. Thank you so much again for joining the show. What can we expect to see from Bethel?
Bethel. So I know that in the past we kind of ate them up on our set pieces, which was pretty fun, which is like corners, or because they man marked rather than like the zone. I know personally we're gonna try to get after them on our set pieces because we're better ball winners than they are. But when it comes to their just style of play, they're gonna try to keep the ball, play quality MIAC soccer, but I just don't think they are the side that is going to be better when it comes to keeping the ball. So hopefully we're going to be on the other end of keeping possession, controlling the game, and slipping some balls through.
Okay. Thank you so much, Robbie, for joining us. Anything you'd like to say to the people out there listening to the squeeze here today?
Well, hey, listen, this is a great show.
Well, thank you.
Anthony and Alec let me on, but I know that there's a multitude of listeners. This is a sweet show, so thanks again, guys.
Okay. Well, we're going to send it to break here on the squeeze. Everybody say thank you to Robbie. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi on KSMR Radio, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus and K232CZ 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR, KSMR Real College Radio. At the end of this little segment, before we go to break, we will take another 16-second squeeze. We've been having a little bit of technical difficulty with the playing sound from my phone into the YouTube live stream. People are saying that they can't hear it, and I'm sorry, it's just a little low. We're it's kind of experimental. So we're dealing with some stuff. We're gonna try some new things for this next 16-second squeeze. But do remember, Niels had 5 correct and Claire had 6 correct. Even if you couldn't hear Claire, I promise, Niels, we're not lying to you. She had 5. She had 6 correct in the soundbite. But let's talk about men's soccer some more. Now, let's talk about this upcoming week in St. Mary's sports. The 3-5 men's soccer team takes on Bethel, who is 3-6 on Tuesday, the 25th at Bethel. They've lost their last 2 games to UW Platteville 2-0 and Augsburg 7-1. They are also 0-2 in MIAC play. And we heard that from Robbie. This team just lost to Augsburg, who we played incredibly well, 7-1. They're walking in and they're saying to themselves, we better beat this team because we know we are better.
Well, they can't treat this like Olaf, though, either, because if they treat this like Olaf and overlook them, Cardinals need to win this one if they want a chance at a playoff spot. Like,
They need to.
They need to win almost every one.
I'm telling you, they might need to win out in the MIAC. That is a tough deal for them to have to do, and this is where it starts.
But Bethel they were projected to get last. They got last year, so don't overlook them, but you got to come in with some confidence. Say, like, we can beat this team. Like, we've had some bad losses, but yes, coming strong.
Okay. And the women's soccer team, who is 5-3, also takes on Bethel, but a little bit of a different story there. They are 6-2. They face off against them on Wednesday, the 26th at Bethel. Bethel, have won their last 2 games against St. Olaf 2-1 and against St. Kate's 4-0. They are 2-1 in conference play, and their one loss came to Augsburg, who we just lost to yesterday by a score of 2-1.
Well,
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about her.
Anthony and I kept looking at I think her name's Ashley St. Aubin, but
Yes.
she's from Augsburg. We should have maybe asked Cassie what she thought of her, but that girl was just unbelievable. Like, she had 16 goals last season and 36 points. That's unbelievable.
16 goals. She already has scored 9 goals this season in 8 games. She's averaging more than a goal a game.
9 out of her teams, 12 or 13.
Yeah, she's number 14, and I will never forget it because when I see her next year, because she's only a junior, I will remember her. What I said to Alec after the game is, man, it's tough to beat a team that has LeBron. It's tough. Normally, in almost all sports, the team with the best player is going to win most of the time. And number 14, Ashley St. Aubin, might be the best player in the MIAC.
She just messed around with our defenders. Like, she would not even go full speed. It seemed like she's jogging over there, and she would get right past her.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
It was absolutely insane. She would run at full speed like she didn't have the ball, and it would just dribble, shoot, goal. It was honestly crazy. What did she have? 2 goals in?
She had 2 goals and 2 assists. I was going to check how many shots. She probably had at least 10, 12 shots.
When the ball was on her foot, you couldn't take it away. It was hard.
Nuts.
I will say, though, Cassie played her very well in their couple head-to-head matchups when they were, shielding the ball from each other. She played her very well. And Cassie plays very physically, and she's not afraid to get down and dirty, which is one of the reasons why I love watching her play. Maddie Walraff as well. She's a senior. She played Ashley St. Aubin very well head-to-head as well.
So, looking, St. Aubin she had 7 shots, 4 shots on goal, 2 goals and an assist.
Whew, and
she didn't play the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, because thank the Lord, Augsburg took her out of that game because that was not pretty. 7-1 Augsburg over the Cardinals. But again, Augsburg, you heard Robbie say it. It's pretty obvious in soccer most of the time who is the better team, who should win. Yeah. In that case, yes, Augsburg should have won, and they went in and won. The crazy thing about that game yesterday with the women, we haven't really talked about it, is it was 1-0 at halftime. It was 1-0 at halftime.
We had chances too.
We had chances. Oh, it wasn't even 7-1. It was 7-0. We didn't score at all. I've been saying that wrong. We lost 7-0. It was 1-0 Augsburg at halftime. And then 15 minutes later, it was 6-0. They scored 5 goals in 15 minutes. the air was let out of the balloon at that point, and it wasn't the crowd depleted and it just didn't feel good.
Not at all.
and watching the Augsburg parents stand up and clap and laugh was not fun.
And some of the Augsburg players, I think that Encarnacion girl, she just sat in the corner and kinda just played around. Like
that was I've never seen that.
That's not the best sportsmanship.
Yeah. So what Alec is describing is she would run, the Augie would run to the corner with the ball, the corner, and then shield the ball from the Cardinals until the Cardinals would kick it out so that the Augies would get a corner. And she wouldn't do anything with the ball. There might have been a good 45 seconds where she was just shielding the defenders from the ball.
And they were laughing the whole time.
And it just it bad taste in my mouth. It wasn't exactly great. But you move on and you take on Bethel, who also lost to Augsburg. So maybe this one might be closer. Hopefully they can go in there and take down the Bethel Royals. Heading over to men's golf, they are going to St. John's for the last tournament of their year before the MIAC championships. And then volleyball, who the Cardinals are 8-6, only 1-2 in MIAC play, take on MIAC opponent St. Ben's this Friday, the 28th.
St. Ben's is good.
Oh gosh, I looked it up. St. Ben's is 13-4, and they are 3-0 in conference play. So to say the least, St. Ben's
really good.
Is really good.
And I don't know. Last year we didn't talk about her that much, but Brandy Blattner, like for listeners that don't know, she's a 2-time All-American for volleyball and basketball. Like to do that in 2 sports, that's
amazing.
Unbelievable.
Yes, and the reason we didn't talk about volleyball last year is we weren't on the air last year during volleyball season or soccer season. Yeah. So, I love talking about soccer. I said it to a couple people in the crowd yesterday. People who say soccer is boring could not be more wrong. And I used to be one of those people. I think soccer on TV is boring. It's hard to watch and nothing really happens. If you disagree, we can hear from you later on the phone line. But watching soccer in person is exhilarating. Every play has so much to do with the.
Well, yeah. Besides the hockey games, I think soccer games might get the most fans.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, the men's crowd is normally rowdy, and the women's crowd is definitely big. But another thing I will say, MIAC parents travel well.
Yeah.
Every game I've gone to so far, I sit kind of near the press box. It's really just a platform, but I sit near the press box where Alec does his play-by-play. And I'm always surrounded by the opponent's team, the opponent's parents, and I can't take it sometimes with what those people say.
Some are respectful, but
some are not. Like they hammer into the ref and they make fun of our players, and it's not cool. I don't enjoy it.
The thing I like, St. Mary's, like we were saying earlier, like recruits like all over and stuff. But like looking at the Augsburg roster, like they had a lot of Minnesotans, like. That's what things I kind of just wonder. Like they won conference last year. Like it doesn't really matter recruiting like out of state or like because you see all those parents there. Like those are like all Minnesotans. So that's kind of what I kind of want to get to for D3 sports. Like does it matter like recruiting out of state or the best players?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. In some cases, I believe with like the Cardinals, their goal is to recruit out of state. So they, Coach Neal does it on purpose. He goes and he puts a wide net out there and he gets as many good recruits as he can. But I wonder for some teams, they might just not get any of the players because the good teams can recruit in state because they can get the best players. Yeah. So St. Thomas and Augsburg and Bethel for track, they can recruit within Minnesota because all of the Minnesota studs are going to those schools. So teams like St. Kate's maybe get the bottom of the barrel, so they have to go out of state sometimes. Exactly. So I think when you see an out of state roster with teams in the MIAC, you can think of those two things. Is this a team that is constantly trying to recruit out of state, or is this a team that's getting the bottom of the barrel and just has no recruits left?
And like looking at the roster too, like it seems like everyone else, like the other teams' rosters are like bigger than ours too. So I feel like maybe we just go out of state and try to get like specific players, and then they might go for just total in-state players. So, but I think it kind of depends on the sport a little bit.
Yeah,
you can go back.
Baseball is the big one that I noticed last year because we had started the squeeze last year during baseball season, so I went to as many baseball games as I could, and every good roster was from Minnesota. But you had a couple like St. Mary's doesn't recruit solely in Minnesota because we're barely in Minnesota. Exactly. We cast the net of Wisconsin. That's our big recruiting state. So when you see that and you're using my logic, you're like, oh, well, St. Mary's better be getting the bottom of the barrel because they have no Minnesota kids. But that's because we're barely in Minnesota. We're practically a WIAC school. You know, every MIAC school is in the Twin Cities except for Concordia, and then you have us in the southeast.
Exactly.
So it's tough for us to go into the Twin Cities and recruit when you have those powerhouses like St. Thomas and like St. Olaf. And so, but something we do have here in Winona, tornadoes. Who knew? I thought the Bluffs would protect us.
It's rained. Besides yesterday, it rained like the whole week. It was awful.
Yesterday was beautiful, but before that, it's not hurricane. Let's not put it in perspective. That it hasn't rained that much, but there was a tornado. This is according to Jordan Vremstad of News8000.com in Winona, Minnesota. The National Weather Service in La Crosse has confirmed that a small tornado that had touched down in Winona County. Officials said the tornado touched down about 5 miles northwest of Rushford in the town of Hart and moved just south of Interstate 90. Interstate 90, which is what we're on, at 9 p.m. on Tuesday. Experts said the tornado registered as an EF1 on the Fujita scale with winds as high as 90 miles an hour. We were hunkered down. You're an RA, so you had a lot to do with this, but we were hunkered down in the basement of Hillside, in the hallways. We're all freaking out. Well, we weren't doing that. That was an over-exaggeration.
I was in a science and learning center.
Oh my gosh, that's not a good place to be. The tornado.
I decided just to sit up there.
Oh my gosh.
And a guy comes running up. He goes, "You got to get downstairs now." And
Yeah.
I had a big test the next day.
Okay. So test is more important than safety.
I did good on the test.
Okay, so there we go. It's fine. But yeah, tornadoes. Who knew, Mom and Dad, when you sent me to Winona, Minnesota, that I was going to be in the path of an EF1 tornado?
We almost had a tornado warning.
Yeah, we had a tornado watch a couple days
yeah.
ago. That's the first time I've ever had to actually do a tornado drill, and it wasn't just a drill. You know,
Exactly.
it was. No one was really afraid because we knew like it's not going to be that bad. But we were all kind of,
They were saying the clouds were circling.
Yeah,
it was the highway.
It was kind of scary, pretty scary. Another crazy weather thing that happened super recently. It might have been earlier this week. I believe the Jan's dumpster got struck by lightning.
Oh, really?
Yes. I had awoken. Me and my roommate and I woke up at the exact same time. It was 4:41 in the morning.
That's when I woke up.
The whole campus woke up because we got struck by lightning. And then the thunder just boom. Did you wake up? Okay, she didn't wake up. So she doesn't help our case. But the whole campus woke up, except her. And it was because something got struck by lightning.
My roommate did. I've heard at least 10 people that have talked about it.
Yeah, Mom and Dad, next weekend for family weekend, get me the heck out of here. I'm going to die from this crazy weather going on in Winona, Minnesota. Who knew? But let's open the phone lines, 507-457-1615. We want to hear from you. What did you do this summer? What have you missed us? Because we've missed you. Let's talk some sports. Let's talk some St. Mary's sports. And let's talk about some questions that you have for the squeeze. And then after we open the phone lines, we will be doing some more 16-second squeezes. Hopefully, we're figuring out these technical difficulties of people not being able to hear the sound bites from my phone. And then another problem that we may have with people calling at 507-457-1615 is the phone goes through the speakers and the webcam is picking up from the speakers. We don't have an actual microphone plugged into the speakers. So it's just getting the ambient sound from the room. So when you call, make a concerted effort to be as loud as you can. 507-457-1615. I want people quality sports scouting right there.
Not even with sports. Robbie's in so much in the school. Like I see him with people, just new people all the time. Like especially like at lunch and stuff. Like he's the type of guy like he'll go sit with other people at other tables. Like he's just a true leader, I think, and he's gonna be a teacher one day. So I think that really.
Oh, he's an adventure. Yeah. Nice.
And a junior captain for soccer and tennis. So. That's 4 years of captain in college sports. So
just a great guy.
Yeah.
Just an all-around great guy. And a great soundbite, a great guy to interview here on the squeeze. Next week, I'm hoping to get Josh Balsiger on the show as well, because he has expressed interest in being on the show. So we want to talk to people that we haven't talked to before. We want the listeners of this radio show to understand St. Mary's sports more than they did before they listen. That's one of the goals. And we will get to professional sports because we both have a little more fun talking about pro sports because we can argue stuff. But I want to make this a St. Mary's sports radio show. That's what it is. I want the community to come together over this radio show, learn a lot about each other, communicate with each other, and just have fun. 507-457-1615. Phone lines are dead, my friend. Phone lines are dead. How's the chat looking?
I put some stuff in there, but nothing.
Nobody's biting. Okay. 507-457-1615. But let's stop taking calls. 630-670-6330 is the contest line. If you want to win a t-shirt and participate in the 16-second squeeze, call during the break. 630-670-6330. One more time, 630-670-6330. Thank you for listening to the squeeze. We will be right back. You are listening to the squeeze with Anthony Vasquez. Gosh darn it, I'm rusty. On KSMR Radio, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus and 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR. KSMR Real College Radio. We do have a contestant here for a 16-second squeeze. What's your name and where are you from?
Lisa, and I'm from Elmwood Park.
Lisa from Elmwood Park. Okay. Who do you want to play against, Teresa or Desmond?
I'm going to go with Desmond.
Desmond. Okay. You have 16 seconds to name as many NBA teams as you can. Ready, go.
Bulls, Cavaliers, the Knicks, and the Nets, and the Heat, Magic, Kings. No,
Okay, time is up. That is 7. Great work, Lisa from Elmwood Park. Now let's hear what Des had to say. After this short commercial break.
7's pretty impressive.
I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. Okay, here we go.
Bucks, Cavs.
Oh, okay. Lisa keeps calling back. Sorry again. Here, Alec, take it away.
Well, Lisa did really good there, but we're waiting for Des.
We're waiting for the Des soundbite that I'm having trouble getting. Okay, here we go.
It's coming.
It's coming. I promise.
Cavs, Pistons, Hawks, Clippers, Lakers. Grizzlies, Raptors, Celtics, Knicks.
Okay, I believe that was 10 from Des. So Lisa had 6?
7.
7. Des had 10. So right now, Niels is still in the lead with +1, right? +1. That's what. No, he was -1.
Who's mine?
Gosh, our
Good six,
contestants
yeah.
are not looking good today. Niels was -1 and Lisa is -3. But Niels, you're still in the lead for a squeeze t-shirt. We will have one more contestant later today. They will be taking on Teresa. So that's some exciting stuff. 507-457-1615. We do have a couple questions in the chat. If you do want to ask questions in the chat, that's fine too. I'd rather take some calls. I want to hear your opinions. I don't just want to hear questions. I want to hear your sports thoughts about St. Mary's sports or professional sports. So 507-457-1615. Give us your thoughts. Call in and let us know. But we do have some questions on the chat, so let's hear it.
Yeah, Christina said, will the Eagles win the NFC again? If no, who do you think will?
Okay, Alec, answer the question.
Well,
Put you on the spot.
being a Minnesota man, I
Okay.
think the Vikings will. Not just being a Minnesota fan, but I honestly think they're the best team. Other running back problems, I feel. Their starting running back right now is Corey Clement with all of them
Not exactly
injured
good.
and stuff.
Yeah.
JJ is not that good. Carson Wentz coming back, though. So
That's big.
that's going to be a big thing, but I don't think they will. And I would say in the mix, I would say Vikings, Falcons, Saints. I think
There's one more team.
Panthers can get in there.
There's one more
You
team.
think the Bears?
You're
I don't think the Bears.
team. We're going to talk about it a little bit later. Last year, I had made a 10-win game projection, 10-game win projection for the Chicago Bears. That projection is looking pretty darn good nowadays. They almost beat the Packers. They have Khalil Mack, who we're going to talk about later. Khalil Mack is a Bear. I don't know if you knew that. The Bears are going to make the playoffs. The Bears. The Bears are going to the Super Bowl. The Bears are going to win. They're going to win their first Super Bowl since 85. I don't know what accent I'm trying to do. It's not very good. But I think, Christina, to answer your question, I think the Eagles are going to win the NFC, but the Bears are going to give them a run for their money, and Stephon Diggs is going to cry. I don't know. Vikings is he's still a Viking, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So realistically, Vikings, what sets them apart from the Eagles? What makes them a better team?
Well, obviously running backs. Dalvin Cook is an absolute beast, but I don't think the Vikings, now that Cousins is there, they don't really have and then they got their kicking problem situated with Dan Bailey, so I don't think they have a weakness, I would say. With the Eagles, their defense is good, but again, if Wentz is not healthy, I don't think Foles is that good either, and then the running back, Ajayi, he's okay, and even if he's out, then they do not have a running back. But I just think the Vikings, especially against the Packers, they didn't play that well. But if you tie in Lambeau Field when Rodgers is on, I don't consider that a bad way to go out. And the Bears sadly lost.
Yeah, but okay, I wish I had a microphone in front of me for the first Bears game of the season against the Packers, because I live in Minnesota, surrounded by nothing but purple people eaters and cheese heads. So I can't really defend myself most of the time when I'm talking about a Bears loss, especially such an ugly Bears loss. I was on the way home from lacrosse getting Chipotle because I missed Chipotle. And the Green Bay Packers were losing to the Bears 20-0. And then I turned the TV on and the Packers beat the Bears 24-23, I think, in one of the most remarkable halftime comebacks in the history of the sport. Aaron Rodgers on one leg, practically high out of his mind, but still put up 24 points on that vaunted Bears defense that's going to be pretty good. They were probably a little bit tired. First game of the year. Aaron Rodgers is the GOAT. You can't.
No, it's unbelievable.
You can't even. We're going to have this conversation a lot this year.
Quick question for you. What are your thoughts on the Detroit Lions? They're
terrible. I think
I
you
thought
can
they were
answer that
going to be
quickly.
decent. Like, people were saying they're going to be okay, like, coming in, but, like,
No.
Against the Jets, that was, like, embarrassing.
Yeah, they're the Tigers. I mean, they're the Lions. They're not. The Tigers are in Detroit as well, but they're the Lions. They're not. They're never going to
They
be
might
good.
Not even win 5 games this year.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
How about the
close.
Browns though? They got their first dub.
Broncos 2-0.
They unlocked the
Dolphins 2-0.
coolers over there in Cleveland. Free Bud Light for everybody. Browns win. Woo! But I had thought that the Browns were going to take 2 quarterbacks, so that tells you how much I know about the NFL. Let's talk about Khalil Mack. So 507-457-1615. No one wants to call today, I guess. That's okay. 507-457-1615. Now, guys, I can see you. There are 13 of you. Before, I thought I was just talking to myself, but now I know there are 13 people. So one of you 13 has to have a sports thought. 507-457-1615. Let us know what it is right now. Okay, so you heard that Khalil Mack was in a lockout with the Raiders all offseason long. And then you started getting these reports from said, sports reporters that Khalil Mack is trade bait. Khalil Mack is going to be traded by the beginning of the season. And a lot of the contenders were the Packers, the Giants, the Bears, because they have a lot of cap room.
Mm-hmm.
But who had the most cap room? The Bears. The Bears had the most cap room. Now Khalil Mack is a Bear. It's pretty cool. For those of you who don't know who Khalil Mack is a 3-time Pro Bowler in 4 seasons. He's a defensive player of the year. This man is one of the best defenders in the history of football. And he's only played for 4 seasons. He's only 27 years old. He has yet to miss a single game in his first 4 seasons. He's forced 12 fumbles in his career. He's 12 fumbles.
Crazy.
He's forced them on his own. He's already forced 2 this season. He has 42.5 sacks in 4 seasons. That's 10 sacks a season. His best season was when he won Defensive Player of the Year. He had 15 sacks. Just ungodly amount of defensive pressure provided by this man. Lowest was 4 in his rookie season, and as you remember, he came out of Buffalo from college. He was highly touted, but he was raw, and he was going to have to be molded, and that is expressed in his 4 sacks his rookie season. He has become one of the most prolific pass rushers in the game. What he does for this Bears defensive line is shift Akeem Hicks, who probably should have been a Pro Bowler last year, shift the pressure on Hicks to Mack, which now you have Mack being double teamed, which sometimes he beats against Akeem Hicks one-on-one. So you can't double team Hicks anymore. That's going to leave him open for 10 sacks this season. Then you have Leonard Floyd on the other end. Same thing. Roy Robertson Harris. This defensive line is unreal. This front 7, is just, it's crazy. Roquan Smith, the new linebacker. Danny Trevathan is a stud, or as the guy on Jason Witten on Monday Night Football, Danny Trevathan. I'm like, come on, Jason Witten, you're not good at your job yet. What are your opinions on the Monday Night booth? Well, it used to be Tirico and Gruden.
I know.
That was great. Now it's
even when they changed like the Monday Night Football song too, it doesn't feel the same.
It's not the same. And Booger McFarland in the have you seen that? Have you guys seen that? Booger McFarland is not in the booth. He's the 3rd analyst on the show or on the broadcast, but he's not in the booth. He's on a crane.
What?
He's on he's on a crane on the sideline and he's blocking the crowd. Big Booger's head he's blocking the crowd and he's not in the booth. So the chemistry between the three of them, sometimes he'll just be talking over them because he doesn't know they're talking. It's a really weird dynamic, and I'm not.
Football should be playing on Sundays. I just
you don't even like Monday Night Football.
well, Thursdays I'm getting sick of that. That just ruins everything, I feel.
But okay, so let's go back to Khalil Mack for the Bears this season. 1 pick 6 that was in the Packer game, as well as a forced fumble in the Packer game. He forced a fumble against Russell Wilson in their last game against the Seahawks, and he's already had 2 quarterback sacks in 2 games. So he's on pace for 16. What? Are you kidding me? This man is unbelievable, and he never gets tired. He never stops. His motor is just impeccable. Did you understand how good Khalil Mack was when he was a Raider?
Not at all, because the Raiders, I don't think the Raiders let him be the super sub like you were talking about. Now the focus, now he has to deal with 2 other guys. The Raiders just didn't have another D lineman, I guess, that's true. People would focus on. So now he goes one-on-one sometimes.
Yeah, I didn't even think about
you
that.
have him coming back at him.
Yeah, I didn't think about that because the Bears already had a strong defensive line last year.
No, they weren't bad last.
They were good. Their defense was a top 6 defense in the league. Yeah. Now there might be a top 2, top 3. There might be the Vikings and the Bears right there for the best defense in the league. Maybe the Jaguars. Jaguars. But the Bears, gosh. It was a little bit of a meme. It was a little bit of a joke last year when I said that the Bears were going to win 10 games. The Bears are going to win 10 games. I don't know if you can look at it any other way. They're going to win 10 games. I mean, do you disagree with me now?
I'm going to look at the schedule quick, but I was going to talk to you about Mac getting tired at all. I watching the Monday night game, some of that, obviously the ESPN announcers aren't the best, but they were kind of saying that they thought Mac kind of gets a little more tired in the second half, and they're worried about his conditioning, staying on the field.
Well, yeah, because he was in a lockout. He was in a lockout as well as Roquan Smith. So when you're in a lockout, I've talked to people about this before. I hate football shape.
Yeah.
I hate when experts say football shape. It's so annoying, but I do understand it. There is a different type of conditioning that you need to have to be a professional football player than to just be a great athlete. So Khalil Mack and Roquan Smith were probably in impeccable shape. They could probably run a mile in 5 minutes and long jump 24 feet. But they weren't in, God, I'm going to say it. They weren't in football shape. So playing, 45 minutes, right? 45 minutes? No, 60 minutes.
60.
Oh my gosh, math is not my strong suit. Playing 60 minutes in the NFL is not easy. I don't know if you know that. Did you know that? It's not easy
to play
60 minutes in the NFL. But it makes sense that he was tired, but he wasn't tired.
The thing I'm going to do, if he gets tired later, if you face a quarterback like Rodgers, in the second half, Mac was still good, but then you start Rodgers has a little less pressure on him. And
his fumble and his pick 6 both came off of, what was his name? The Deshaun Kaiser.
Oh, yeah.
So there was an asterisk next to that one.
But when they face Tom Brady, in 4 weeks, that's the thing. Second half, you don't know.
I mean, I don't know.
It's going to be a good.
So the thing about great quarterbacks is they can do a 1-2 step back drop and then throw the ball. So it's just 1-2 throw. That's what Rodgers was doing in the fourth quarter against the Bears, because then the Bears. I love saying that. But because if you take just 2 steps and then you throw, the pressure's not gonna be able to get to you. It's too quick. So Tom Brady's gonna do the same thing. You're thinking to yourself, he's on one leg. Aaron Rodgers is. How can you not sack him? Well, that's because he's just throwing dinky passes really quickly, getting it to his receivers, and he's as accurate as quarterbacks come. And Tom Brady's the same way. So it's a good point. He's 49 years old at this point. He's not actually. He's 43. 43.
Who is?
Tom Brady. 43, 42. Okay, irrelevant. He's old, but he still has an accurate passing arm, and it's going to be quick. So that's
41.
He's only 41. Well, he seems older. I'm sorry.
Still the GOAT.
No, he's not the GOAT. We talked about this. Do you want to have that conversation?
I think Rodgers is better.
Okay. So the qualifier that I think you have to say, there are 2 conversations that we're having when we're talking. It's not LeBron and MJ. That is the same conversation. You can argue which is the best and which is the most accomplished. You can argue that. In football, with the argument for who's better in these 2 quarterbacks, the qualifier is most accomplished, Tom Brady. Undeniable. He's won more Super Bowls than any other quarterback. Yeah. Undeniable. The best quarterback, at literally being a quarterback, is Aaron Rodgers.
Well, if Rodgers is in the game, the Packers are maybe one of the 5 worst teams in the NFL. That's
Just
the thing.
exactly. Look at that. Every time Rodgers is out of the game, even for a quarter,
Terrible.
I mean, the Packers fall apart. He's the glue to a perennial playoff team. He is the playoff team. You take Rodgers off of the Packers, they are crap. You cannot tell me that the Packers are a good team without Aaron Rodgers. But you put Aaron Rodgers on any other team in the NFL, instantly a Super Bowl contender. I don't care what team it is.
Yeah.
Instantly a Super Bowl contender. You can't argue the same for Tom Brady. Tom Brady is a great quarterback, yes, but he's I don't want to say he's a scheme guy because he isn't, but his success is Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick is his success. Is Tom Brady's success. Without those two, I don't think you could put Tom on the Bears and they'd be a perennial. I keep saying perennial. I need to stop saying that word. A playoff contender like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Hey, back to Mac. How many sacks do you think today? They're playing the team that scored 6 points in 2
They're
games.
playing the Cardinals. They're playing the Cardinals.
2?
No, let's go 3. Let's go crazy. Let's go 3.
I'll go 2.
Okay. So I say Khalil Mack's no. Khalil Mack's going to have 1, but the defensive line is going to have 8. Wow. They're going to sack the quarterback 8 times. Sam Bradford is going to want to cry at the end of this.
When we talk about our predictions, I got something on that game.
Okay, there we go. 507-457-1615 if you want to call. We are going to go to break here, actually. So 630-670-6330. That's really confusing. The contest line is 630-670-6330. This is your last chance, everybody, all 14 people out there. If you want these swaggy Squeeze t-shirts, you got to call in at 630-670-6330. We are going to go to break right here and hopefully have a 16-second squeeze right after the break. Thank you for listening to The Squeeze. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi on KSMR Radio, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus and 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR, KSMR Real College Radio. This is right here. This is my producer, Alec Rude. I've been told I need to say his name more, not by him, by my grandma. My grandma tells me I need to say his name more because he does so much for this show. So Alec Rude is sitting right here next to me. We are going to be doing a 16-second squeeze right now. This is Nolan, correct? Where are you from, Nolan?
Rogers, Minnesota.
Rogers, Minnesota. Thank you so much for calling for a 16-second squeeze. Your competitor today is Teresa, and Teresa had 16 seconds to name as many U.S. states as she could. U.S. states in 3, 2, 1, go.
Minnesota, Missouri, Wisconsin, North Dakota, South Dakota, California, Florida, New York, Connecticut, Texas.
Okay. How many is that, Alec?
He had 11.
He had 11. Thank you so much for calling Nolan. Oh, I think he hung up on us, so that's okay. So now let's hear from Teresa. Teresa had 16 seconds to name as many U.S. states as she could. U.S. states, Teresa, here we go.
Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota, Illinois, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Texas, Nevada, Maine, Florida, California, Arizona, Colorado, Idaho.
Okay, I counted 14. So
-3.
Nolan, oh my gosh, our competitors today, our contestants today on the 16-second squeeze, not doing too well, but Niels from La Crosse, Wisconsin, congratulations, you have won a squeeze t-shirt. I will get back to you at the end of the show to deliver said squeeze t-shirt. Congratulations. So that's how the 16-second squeeze is going to go from here on out. Tune in every week for your chance to win one of these pretty cool squeeze t-shirts. So that was Claire, Teresa, and Dez. Dez is a track athlete here on the show. He's a big lover of the show. I'm sure he's out there repping his squeeze t-shirt currently. He's been on the show last year, and he will return this year. And then Claire and Teresa. Claire and Teresa are two of my favorite people in the world. They were on the show last year. They did a trivia segment, a sports trivia segment that went terribly for them, but great for all of us because we got to make fun of them relentlessly for the entire summer. And I know that they're listening, and I know that they just said rude at the end. Not Alec Rude, but they were just like rude. That's exactly what they just said. But so this year, because we did so well with Claire and Teresa last year, we're going to incorporate them every single week here on the squeeze. And we're going to do that by picking NFL games, 8 NFL games. I'm going to pick 8 NFL games. He's going to pick 8 NFL games. And Claire and Teresa together are also going to pick 8 NFL games. The first season of college football, I was expecting to do a squeeze. I thought we were going to do it, and then I found out that we couldn't. So I asked them 8 college football games to pick the winner. And here was the result of said questioning. In a second, once I figure it out. And here we go.
Versus Illinois.
Illinois. Anthony's from Chicago. Okay, so Illinois.
Washington versus Auburn.
Auburn. Yeah, it just sounds better. The South. Yeah.
Northern Illinois versus Iowa.
Yeah. It's bigger. Yeah, that makes sense. Good reasoning.
North Carolina versus Cal.
What's Cal? Have a Cal sweatshirt. So so that one. Yeah, Cal.
Michigan versus Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. I've been there once. So definitely that one.
Louisville versus Alabama.
South again. Alabama. Okay. I'm good with that.
Central Michigan versus Kentucky.
I feel like Michigan because we have friends from Michigan.
Yeah,
And
all
they
right.
say it's the best state, so I trust them.
Michigan.
Michigan.
And Oregon State versus Ohio State.
Well, this is a hard one.
Is Oregon State the Ducks?
No,
The Beavers.
they're the Beavers.
All right, let's go.
Okay, I
Beavers.
love a good beaver. Yeah.
Okay, so we're laughing, and I'm sure you're laughing as well. If you were keeping track at home, Claire and Teresa in the first week of college football went 6-2. They picked correctly in 6 of the 8 games out of pure expert analysis.
If you knew a little bit of even a little bit about college football, you would not pick Oregon State to beat Ohio
No,
State.
but see, the thing is, they know more about college football than either of us do. So they went 6-2, and we did. But so now we're gonna do 8 NFL games, and I asked them last night to pick Week 3 of the NFL, 8 NFL games, and here was the result of that.
Giants versus Texans.
I'm a big Texas person, so let's go Texas.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Texans.
Okay, yeah, Texans.
Sorry.
That works.
Texans. I just wanted to make sure.
It's the same place.
Okay. 49ers versus Chiefs.
Weren't we just talking about the 49ers the other day?
I just don't like them because it's a number.
Okay, yeah, let's go with the Chiefs then.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, because they're the only team with a number.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
Dumb.
Raiders versus Dolphins.
Oh, Dolphins.
Dolphins.
It's an animal.
Save the planet. Save the turtles. Dolphins.
Colts versus Eagles.
I don't know.
Colts. I don't know why, but
Why
that's
not the
why.
Eagles?
I don't know.
We're from Minnesota, Claire. Eagles.
I think the two things correlate.
Good point, actually. Okay. So Colts.
Yes,
Okay, fine.
Colts.
Colts.
Bengals versus Panthers.
Didn't one of those win the Super Bowl a couple years ago?
Do not ask me about the Super Bowl. Last time we did this, I got it very wrong. So
I
did
think-
you.
Let's just go with the Panthers because I think that's a Jungle Book character. So Panthers.
Also, they're kind of cool.
Yeah.
And expensive cars. No, that's a
Jaguar.
There we go. You know, same thing. Same animal.
Bears versus Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Yeah, roll cards.
Go us.
That one kind of hurts. Okay. Patriots versus Lions.
Patriots because Tom Brady.
Sure.
Valid. And Steelers versus Buccaneers.
I don't like the Steelers.
So
I don't
guess
know why.
the Buccaneers, but they sound kind of cheesy. But that'll work.
So you heard it here first, folks. The Buccaneers sound kind of cheesy. But to give you a rundown, they picked the Texans, Chiefs, Dolphins, Colts, Panthers, Cardinals, Patriots, and Buccaneers. So place your bets right now. If you want to win a boatload of money, follow Claire and Teresa's betting advice. Alec, who do you have for these 8 games? It is a competition between me, Alec, Claire, and Teresa. We don't know what the winner is going to win, and we don't know what the loser is going to lose, but it's a competition for now. Who did you pick, Alec, and give us your reasoning?
I had Texans over Giants, Deshaun Watson. I had the Chiefs over the 49ers because the 49ers are bad. I had the Dolphins over the Raiders because John Gruden is stupid with Khalil Mack. I had the Eagles over the Colts because Carson Wentz. Bengals over the Panthers. Wait, no. I had the Panthers over the Bengals.
You also had the Raiders over the Dolphins.
No. I'm trying to think about that one. Yeah.
Okay.
No, Bengals I think are a little overrated. I think they just had one good week.
Okay.
Bears over the Cardinals. Cardinals have scored 6 points in 2 games.
And the Bears are good. Can you say that, please?
The Bears are good.
Okay, thank you.
Patriots over the Lions because Lions aren't good. Tom Brady is good. And then I have the Bucks over the Steelers because I think Fitzpatrick is going to do good again.
No, this is where it ends.
I love Fitzpatrick.
This is Fitzmagic. Yeah, no, this is where it ends for Fitzmagic. I have the Texans over the Giants as well for the same reason. Deshaun Watson and the Giants' offensive line is just absolutely terrible. Jadeveon Clowney may tear him up. Is JJ Watt back? Yeah. So JJ Watt and Jadeveon
They haven't
Clowney.
been as good as they should have been. Last week they did not play good.
Yeah, but the Giants' offensive line is just terrible. So I have the Chiefs over the 49ers. I have the Dolphins over the Raiders for the reason that Alex said, because John Gruden is an idiot. But Alec
I
picked
still
the
have the
Dolphins.
Raiders.
Alec picked the Dolphins last night when I asked him. You
What?
would have changed this, but yeah, you did. You totally did. I have it
My
written
sheet
down.
says the Raiders.
I know it was okay. Whatever.
So I did pick the Dolphins.
No, you picked the Raiders.
No, I picked the Raiders.
Okay, bad radio. Colts versus Eagles. The girls have an upset here with the Colts over the Eagles. They might know something that we don't. Remember, Minnesota Eagles. So I picked the Eagles as well. Bengals over Panthers. I picked the Bengals. The Panthers are not a luxury car brand. The Jaguars are, though. So I guess it could have said something like that. Bears versus Cardinals. I picked the Bears. The Bears are the best in the league. Patriots versus Lions. Patriots, and Steelers versus Buccaneers. I picked the Steelers. I think they're going to turn it around here in week 3. No way the Steelers go 0-2-1 in the first 3 weeks. They'll figure it out against the Buccaneers team that has been riding high on Fitzmagic. I think the Fitzmagic is Fitz up.
I thought it was going to be last week too, but he keeps proving
someone in my, I don't know, one cares about your fantasy team, but someone in my fantasy league this week tried to trade me Fitzmagic for McCaffrey. I said no. I'm like, the Magic, it's not going to last. He's not a good quarterback. He's had a couple good weeks.
My fantasy team needs help.
Okay, I don't care about your fantasy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm also, this is my first year of fantasy, so.
My 2 running backs for one of my teams are Frank Gore and Chase Edmonds from Arizona because all the rest are injured.
Oh, gosh, that's not fun. We do have Colin sitting back here, if you could see him. He is interested. I had already talked about it earlier in the show, but he is interested in starting a fantasy football radio show here at KSMR, so I'm pretty excited to hear that every week for helping my fantasy team because I suck at fantasy. Congratulations to Niels again for winning the Squeeze t-shirt. The show has gone. It's been a bumpy ride. We've had some technical difficulties. Things haven't flowed exactly the way I would have liked them to, but you know what? We're getting through, and I'm super pumped to be back talking to you guys. And actually, you can see me now, which is weird. You can see us. Alec, how do you think the show's going so far?
I think it's going good. No, we've touched on a lot of things. I think, again, the technical difficulties are unfortunate, but not much exactly we can do about it. But no, it's been going good.
So before we get a little serious, we're going to end the show with some serious-ish topics, some hot-button topics. 507-457-1615 if you want to call in. We haven't had a call yet today. This might be our first show ever without a call. 507-457-1615. I want to hear your sports thoughts. You know, I don't want you to just ask us a question. I want you to have an opinion. You to have a nice sports opinion. I want to debate about it. Let's talk about it. 507-457-1615. A pretty raging debate. Lighthearted. I'm Q. Here we go. First call of the day. What's your name and where are you from? You're on the Squeeze.
Hi, I'm Christina from Chicago.
Hi, Christina. From Chicago? What is up?
I just had a question about, kind of an opinion. I wanted to hear your opinion about soccer and about instant replays and like what you think about that, like whether or not refs or, should be allowed to look back at the instant replays because the technology is there, but, they've never been able to in a game. I think that it would make the game a lot more fair because there's a lot of stuff that is, goes unseen kind of. And so I just think it would be more fair. And so I wanted to see what you thought about that.
So you're asking about instant replay in soccer?
In soccer, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for the call. I'm kind of ignorant to the situation in soccer with instant replay. I am a big, I'm all for instant replay in almost every sport. I love what it's been doing for baseball. I think you get the call right. It's within the letter of the law. Get the call right. I don't want my games to be decided by a blown call from a ref. That's not what you want to. That's not how you want your favorite team to go down. Is a bad call by a ref. So I would imagine that soccer fans would agree with me that yes, if there's a out of bounds call that is a little suspect, let's do a quick term replay.
I think every league's doing like good too, not going over the top because like when they were saying the strike, so I'm like, I think that's ridiculous.
I don't like this. Yeah, no.
Like there's a point. That's why we have refs and stuff is to have
human element.
Yeah. So you don't want to take it too far, but no, like soccer, I don't even know if they replay like goals. Either.
I would, yeah, no, I don't think they do. But like in football, you replay touchdowns. Every scoring play is replayed, so you could probably do the same in soccer. Same thing for cards. I wish we had replay for a couple of those cards yesterday that were suspect in the soccer game. Oh gosh, there's a person in the crowd who asked me how many cards until you get a red card for a season. It's 5. A couple of our players are creeping up there quickly, and that's not good. I mean, and Robbie's a great guy, but he's one of them. He lets the ref know when they They are not making the good call, and I respect that a lot. But they got to be careful because if you start creeping up to 5 and then you have to miss a big MIAC game, and when we were talking about how they're going to have to win out if they want to make the playoffs, it's getting tricky. But so instant replay in soccer, I think you could use it. I think you could use instant replay in every sport. I love instant replay. I thought
it's working. Like no one's like it doesn't
it's
seem to be a problem for anyone.
There are always going to be complaints at the beginning, and then you refine things, and you retool things, and you make it better, kind of like how we're doing here on the squeeze. Okay, lighthearted thing. Thanks for the call, Christina. Javier Baez. I'm sitting in the midst of 2 Twins fans, correct? So you don't really have a dog in this fight, Colin. I mean, if you want to enter in, you can as well. Talking to that mic right there, but. The big MVP race debate right now is Christian Yelich versus Javier Baez. I would say if I was in bipartisan, unbiased baseball fan, Christian Yelich is the MVP. But my meatball-y Cubs fandom leads me to believe that Javier Baez is the MVP. So let me just let you hear some statistics about Javier Baez. He has amassed 6.1 wins above replacement this year. In his 5 seasons, or in his 4 seasons before this, he had only amassed 5.9 wins above replacement collectively. So in 4 seasons, in 1 season, he's outdone what he did in 4 seasons. If I had to sit here and tell you every top 3 category that he was in, we'd be here for 3 hours. But he's second in WAR. He's first in total bases. He's second in triples. First in RBI, which is kind of irrelevant. First in extra base hits. Second in slugging percentage. And second in home runs. And that's just the half of it. So you guys you are the bipartisan, unbiased, no bias fans. So let me know who right now is the MVP.
That's a tough question, Anthony. I mean, I feel like Javier Baez has been the more consistent player, like in terms of the entire season. I feel like Christian Yelich, he battled injuries a little bit this year. He's really taken off now. His 2 cycles he's hit this year has helped his argument for MVP. I'm leaning towards Baez. At the beginning of the year, I told my roommate from last year, who's actually another huge Cubs fan, shout out to Jake Coleman. And so I told him, like, Javier Baez, he's going to be an all-star this year. I called, he's like, I don't know. And sure enough, he's having the season of his life. Arguably best in the league at his position. And you're talking about the wins above replacement. Huge stat. He actually, that same kid, he actually did a statistics project on Javier Baez, and that was before on his effect. And I think he's a big valuable piece to the Cubs. So I'm leaning towards him,
Okay, so there we go. 1 for Javi Baez. What about you, Alec?
I'm going the other way.
Okay, good.
But I think, like, the voters, I think when they look at it, like, they obviously look at stats and stuff, but, like, I feel like overall, like, the team aspect, like, I feel like the Brewers, like, they're 88 and 67, and that's a big part of him. And I feel like the Cubs, like, they have a lot of good players, and obviously Baez is huge. Mm-hmm. But Yelich, I feel like I couldn't name you many Brewers players right now.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he's, like, super good, and obviously – ending out the season, he's batting .435 in his last 7 days. So I feel like ending the season too is a big part to your NL MVP race. But again, I'm not too knowledgeable with this, but just kind of thinking about the stats and stuff and team overall aspect.
I think realistically, it's going to come down to who wins the division. As stupid as that kind of sounds, you would hope that the MVP race would be who's the best player, but a lot of times that's not how it plays out. Mm-hmm. I think whoever wins the division will have the MVP. If the Brewers somehow win the division, it's not looking too good. Then Christian Yelich will be the MVP. But if the Cubs can maintain their lead and win out in the division, I believe that Javi Baez has amassed enough statistics and enough highlights. If you go on MLB.com on the Twitter page, it's practically the Javier Baez El Mago Twitter page, because it seems like every night you see 3 to 4 highlights of him doing something crazy on the bases or doing something crazy in the field. And he has 34 home runs to match. He's just, and from, I don't know, because Christian Yelich, you could make the same argument. Christian Yelich is making plays every single night, and he's gone from somebody who, he's won a Gold Glove and he's won a Silver Slugger, but he's never put it all together at the same time, and now he finally has, and he's done it in a division race. Christian Yelich has. So it's a great debate. I mean, 507-457-1615. What do you guys think? I know I have a pretty Cubs-centric listener base, but 507-457-1615. Who do you think is going to win the MVP? Javier Baez or Christian Yelich. Thanks, Colin, for giving some insight from a Twins fan. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry that you guys.
We're used to it.
They made the playoffs last season.
They did make the playoffs.
It's
Well,
the
they made the wild card game last
If
season.
you want to-
It's the playoffs. It's the
It's
playoffs.
the postseason. Let's call it that. So, okay, let's go from something happy to something that all three of us are in the same sports management class with Zach Mayo, who is actually in charge of KSMR. Shout out Mayo. And we have a lot of conversations about sport ethics and things that are happening in sports in the present day. Colin Kaepernick is one of those things that has come up multiple times. And in class, I have learned that Alec and I disagree. We disagree on this situation. Alec, tell me what you think about Colin Kaepernick.
I think he does not want to be a football player anymore. I feel like we were kind of talking about like Johnny Manziel being in the CFL. Like I feel like if Kaepernick actually wanted to do that, I feel like he would have the opportunity to do it. And I feel like he just got this for attention to himself and kind of made himself more famous. And I feel like he had this kind of planned out, like totally throughout the whole process. So I feel like he used this, and I feel like the 49ers were at kind of their down point. They were going downhill, and he was starting to become the back quarterback. So I just feel like he just did it for himself, and he might have been sick of football. That's what I kind of think.
So
His
do
take
you
was.
think Nike made a good move?
Initially, no, because I don't think sitting down for the anthem is the right thing to do at all. Like I think once you could get attention, but if you just keep doing it, I'm not in favor of that.
Mhm.
But again, you see, we were talking about in class, Nike's stocks have risen a
for
lot.
sure. Yeah,
And Nike's so big now, people aren't gonna buy their stuff just because of that.
true. Yeah, I mean, all those dummies who burned their socks probably went out and bought new ones last weekend. So from this very start, I mean, my dad and I disagree on this. From the very start, I was gung-ho all for Colin Kaepernick and him standing up by kneeling during the anthem, not before the anthem, during the anthem. He was not protesting the anthem. He was protesting the police brutality in America. He wasn't protesting the anthem. So if you ever, not you personally, but you as a broad scope, if you ever say or hear somebody say he was protesting the anthem, please stop and tell them they are wrong, because he wasn't. When you say that, it makes it sound like he's protesting against America. He's protesting against the flag, but he's not. He's protesting for a cause. He was kneeling for a cause. And in my mind, that's absolutely noble. He knew what he had to lose, and he lost it. He lost his job in the NFL. I mean, the Nike ad says, what is it? Stand up for something, even if you're going to lose everything. That's literally what he did. Or believe in something, even if you're going to lose everything. That's what he did. He knew the consequences, and it happened. And it's paid off. There's been more publicity than he could have ever dreamed of for this whole entire situation, for the Black Lives Matter movement, and for anti-police brutality. There's been a lot of backlash as well, which isn't so good. But I think overall it was a net positive for the movement that he was trying to promote. And it might have been a net positive for the NFL as well. It's making the NFL as itself look a little goofy because they're mishandling it beyond belief. But it brought more publicity to a machine that just keeps rolling and keeps just rolling out ratings. And the Monday night game against the Bears and Seahawks, or with the Bears and Seahawks, was the lowest rated Monday night football game ever.
Oh, really?
And it was still 4 points, which is 4 million viewers, higher than the next closest television show.
Wow.
The NFL is a media giant. So the one little speed bump that Colin Kaepernick was for the NFL was just that. It was just a speed bump. But for Colin Kaepernick, he did more than he ever could have if he didn't begin kneeling during the anthem. And I think it's a noble cause, and I really like what he did. I just made a weird face because I don't know. Oh, it's we're having an ultimate frisbee tournament here this weekend, and a bunch of Bethel people just came down into the game room and kind of freaked me out. I thought they were gonna go like mug the people listening to the Squeeze in the game room, but no, we're okay. So thank you for listening to the Squeeze. I can't believe it's 11:58. We got to
fast.
That was the quickest the Squeeze has ever gone by. We didn't get to a third of the stuff that I wanted to get to. Thank you for listening to The Squeeze. This was The Squeeze on KSMR Radio, broadcasting live on 92.5 FM on campus and K232CZ 94.3 FM in Winona, Minnesota, as well as online at smumn.edu/KSMR. KSMR Real College Radio. Thank you so much for listening. Follow The Squeeze Twitter at The Squeeze, the number 4. Follow Alec. His Instagram at Rudy_Rude.
Instagram's Alec Root 10.
Oh, sorry, Alec Rude 10.
Wait,
no, it's
you're right.
Rudy.
That's
Rudy
my Twitter. That's my Twitter.
Yeah, Instagram, Rudy_Rude. Follow The Squeeze for live tweets of St. Mary's sporting events and for any sports thoughts that either of us have, and also for information on upcoming shows. We will be broadcasting finally consistently every Sunday from 10 to noon, just in time for you all to get out of here and watch those football games. YouTube is going to be the best place to listen to us, at least until the frequencies are back up. And YouTube is actually the only place to listen to us. So thank you so much for watching and listening today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel to go back and watch these live streams. And don't forget to tune in every week to listen to some good sports radio and to win a t-shirt.
Yeah. That was a good show.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for listening.